we've never lived in an age where we had so much confusion about what is a woman.
Can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't.
Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. What do you define a woman as?
An adult human female. Someone with female reproductive organs. When you're female, it goes right down to your bones, your DNA, ingrained in every fiber of their being. So
You
that's
want to
the
reduce
problem.
women, you want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics, our genitals, our chromosomes, right? That's what you're
What
saying.
you want to do is
that's what we
what
are
you
at the end of
what
the
you
day.
want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood and turn it into basically a costume that can be worn.
Day 80 of being a girl.
I find girlhood to be inspiring. There are a lot of human beings who are girls who transcend what their gender is.
Hello Sunshines, welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Set Apart Diaries. If you're new here, consider subscribing to this channel. In today's video, guys, we're going to talk about what is a woman. And this is, by the way, coming from a biological woman, since we're having to clarify things these days. I want to talk about this issue because we as women have never been so threatened.
Why is Women's History Month being touted by actual male Dylan Mulvaney? Why? Why is that happening? Women's History Month, it features for Hershey, a dude, Faye Johnstone, who's a dude, as the spokesperson. Or maybe you have Dylan Mulvaney celebrating Women's History Month. Dylan Mulvaney is, of course, also a dude in a creepy video in which he, having waxed his mustache and beard, apparently, has to put on makeup and then gallivant around like a caricature of a cartoon girl.
Like pink. Pink.
Oh, no, it's a TikTok video.
Pink.
Oh, no. Dylan Mulvaney is wearing things that are pink, like a dress that is pink, and then smiling hysterically, creepily into the camera for Women's History Month. Do you feel all the feminine history happening right here?
I think this is perhaps one of the first times in a long time that feminism truly has been threatened by this transgender ideology that, you know, biological man can become women and so forth. These gender ideologies are trying to literally destroy reality, the fabric of biology. In a day and age when we have Leah Thompson dominating women's sports.
That first day of competition, Leah swam in the 500 freestyle and he beat out 3 U.S. Olympians, the most impressive female swimmers this country has ever seen. That next day, we competed against each other in the 200 freestyle. I can see how God played through all this, but almost impossibly enough, we tied. It was totally God's doing. I was so shocked when we tied. And the NCAA official looks at both Thomas and I and he says, we only have 1 trophy, so that trophy goes to Leah. So I'm sitting here thinking about how much work I've put in. Ask this official, you know, why are you adamant on giving this trophy to a male? And the official looks at me and says, Leah has to have the trophy for pictures. He reduced that to a photo op to validate the feelings and the identity of a male, with us being the collateral damage in the process.
We have Dylan Mulvaney on the face of beer cans. Come on, you know, being sponsored by these companies like Nike, doing podcasts with Ulta and telling us women what it means to be a woman.
The constant critique I was getting was like, oh, this girl thinks it's all about makeup, thinks it's like womanhood is all about wearing dresses. Because I didn't know anything else. I hadn't had an opportunity, babe.
Give me a minute.
Give me a year.
And it's a really sad thing that society, the fabric of society has degraded to such a degree, to such a point that I'm having to make this video. You know, things that seem to be self-explanatory, you know, straightforward, it's no longer the case, you know? And here's the thing. It used to be that a biological definition of a woman, somebody who has X and X chromosomes, somebody who has reproductive organs, somebody who can bear children, somebody who menstruates. These were things that, you know, were satisfactory for society and for a definition of a woman. But clearly, this is no longer a satisfying definition. And I think this speaks to the fact that we as humans, we are far greater than just biological creatures. We are much more than that. And this is why we see this gender ideology that tries to separate gender from biology. I truly think that this is a religious impulse. We're looking for the transcendent. We're looking to transcend our biology, and we're doing it at the cost of reality. You know, we're literally losing our minds. This is a Christian channel, so I provide Christian commentary. So in today's video, guys, I want to talk about what is a woman, who is a woman from a biblical perspective, a kind of answer that used to work in a modern world. It no longer works in a postmodern world where everyone gets to define their own concept of truth. So when we talk about a woman, we have to talk from a much deeper perspective. So this is why I believe that in order to understand what is a woman from a holistic perspective is to go back to our origins. You have to understand that a woman is not just a biological machine. She's not just a biological, reproductive system. A woman, first and foremost, is the crown of creation. She is the thought of God. She is the idea of God. She is a created thing. Unless we are willing to talk about the creator who created the woman, our God in his image, he created a male and female. She's just not a random occurrence. She's a blueprint. She reflects the creator. Here's the thing. People will be like, okay, well, it's evolution. Okay, explain to me. Remember seeing the monkeys or these Homo sapiens, through different levels of development? I've always asked, where the heck is women in that? How do we go from these Homo sapiens, male looking Homo sapiens to a woman? How does evolution explain that? See, evolution cannot explain how a woman came about because she did not come from evolution. She came from God himself. She is God's idea. She is God's thought, first and foremost. And unless we can go back to our origins, we will never be able to define woman correctly in the fullness of what a woman was created to be. A woman essentially is an artwork. She's an artwork of an artist, of a great mind. She's a masterpiece of an intelligent designer. Now we have dealt with the question of where did a woman come from? Now we have to talk about what is the function of a woman? Why was a woman created? And this is where we talk about feminism, true feminism, in relation to masculinity, in relation to other things than just, a woman wasn't just created for the sake of a woman. A woman was created with a purpose, and that is to complement masculinity, to aid masculinity, to bring the best in masculinity. So a woman was created in harmony to masculinity, not apart from it. So we read in Genesis that God looked at Adam and he looked at him. He was like, well, he's really sad and he's really lonely. He needs somebody to help him. And this is when God created a woman from Adam's rib. So a woman came out of masculinity. She is not like a man, but she is made in relation to a man. She is made within the hierarchy of God, man, and then woman. She is created with a function to aid man, to help Adam. Here's the thing, we have this modern feminism that tries to say, it's equality. Yes, we're both equal in God's sight, but we have different functions. So here's the thing, those quotes that behind every great man, there is a great woman. This is what it talks about. Any great man is influenced by a great woman. You will often hear businessmen talk about this, that woman that you marry really has the power to make you or destroy you. This is the power of a woman. The best helper to a man is not another man. A best helper to a man is a great woman. And that is how God designed it. And feminism wants to say, oh, it's patriarchy, we can do it ourselves, we don't need men, or, it's women's rights, it's female empowerment, it's sexual revolution, we can just dominate, we can do it, and there's no consequence. This is a very stupid, this is an attempt to make women men. Women will never be men, and men will never be women. This harmony or this complementary function of a woman is also expressed in sexuality, in reproduction. We can obviously see that how things were designed, the sexual organs, they were designed to fit. And you can do all kinds of scientific experiments, but you'll never be able to produce life without a man and a woman, which is evidence to the fact that they were created to be complementary, in harmony, to work together. They have different functions and different roles, but they're equally valuable in the sight of God. And now, number 3, who is a woman? What is her function? Which is a woman is a carrier and a deliverer of a man's seed. And this idea that we see that they're trying to so dissociate, the woman from the childbearing process. This is scary because they're redefining where, you cannot call a mom, a mother. You used to call it, for instance, in medicines, like mother-baby unit, Now they're redefining, they're saying a birthing person. Just because we have the technology, so-called, to give, a man a bunch of estrogen, or give a biological woman bunch of testosterone to make her look like a man, even though she can, even though she'll always be a biological female, and then she's able to deliver, but she identifies as a man. oh my goodness, it's so stupid, guys. And here's the thing, I always thought to myself, why did Jesus not just show up and save us? You know what I mean? Like, why didn't he just show up? Even God does not bypass his own order. He says that the Holy Seed came into the womb of Mary. A woman was the mechanism through which God's plan for redemption of humanity did come about. Jesus came from a woman. He was birthed from a virgin who had the Holy Seed in her womb. This was an incarnation, a supernatural. Without the gift of a woman, let's say, the Savior could have not incarnated and come to the world. This is how great this is. And here's the thing, where feminism really has a problem with God's view of a woman is that they say, well, it's the hierarchy, the patriarchy is the problem of everything. Here's the thing, biblical feminism respects the hierarchy. Adam was created first and then Eve. So a woman is put within this hierarchy, God, Adam, and then Eve. When Eve went against God's law, against God's word, God's order, here's the thing, God does not go to Eve first. He holds Adam accountable. These feminists have such a problem about submission and all these things, because they think, this is a threat. This is not a threat. For instance, if I have two kids and my oldest child, let's say, is 3 years older than my second child, obviously as a first child, I expect my older child to take care of the younger child. He's going to be responsible, and if something happens, I'm going to ask, where were you? Why didn't you watch over the younger child? Doesn't mean that I love my younger child more than I love my older child. It's just that because my older child is an older child, I have an expectation. And same thing is with, for instance, when God created man and a woman, God created Adam first, and then he created a woman. So when God is asking, Adam, like, what happened? Where were you when Eve did this act? Why did you let Eve just go through with this? God is doing the same thing. It's not because he loves or values Eve less. It's just there's an order to creation. There's a hierarchy. So in any time, we as women, we say, we don't need men, we don't need this, we can, it's all about us. This is a very selfish thing that will have consequences, because we cannot rip apart the fabric of reality. We cannot rip apart the blueprint with which the world is created. And in the New Testament, it says, wives, submit to your husbands, show him the respect. But then also in the same passage, it says, husbands, love your wives just the same way that Christ loved the church, that he died for her. So husbands, men are called to love women sacrificially, with a much higher bar. But women, in a sense, ought to respect their husbands, because they're the ones who are going to answer before God for their families, for their children, because the accountability is on the man, because man is the head of a home. And this is when it works properly. When women are feminine, when women are respectful, when women don't just sleep around, are not promiscuous, when they hold themselves in great standing, when they're selective, when they don't just give access to anybody, when women wait, for marriage to give their bodies, this is when men are like, okay, this is a special woman, this is when femininity is beautiful. But when women, give into this lie of this feminism, this modern feminism, is like sexually empowerment. You're just like men. You can just sleep around. You just work hard at the corporate ladder, for the corporate ladder, compete, do these things. Be masculine in your energy. You're destroying the very concept of a woman, and half the time you're not going to be happy. This is you're buying into a lie. You're bringing so much destruction into your life. Versus when you understand that I am created by a God who loved me, who has a purpose for me, and, who wants me to be in the right relation to masculinity, in a right relationship to kids, to children. This is when women flourish. This is when society flourishes. This is when families flourish. This is when men understand they can't just be promiscuous. They can't just be lustful, because women keep them in check. They have high standards. And this is the only way that we can truly move forward. Thank you so much for watching this video. Consider subscribing to this channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.